And welcome back to Bitcoin Advisors channel. My name is Chris, bringing it to you here from Westlake Village, California. It is Monday morning, a new week, new opportunities out there. And I want to bring it back to Friday last week where, and this is Bitcoin on the daily, where I did say, hey, look, potentially the dollar could rally coming into a Monday this week based off of the 4-hour. And we did break our green box of Piece of Prosperity. And I do believe a general reset in the entire market is happening right now. But just want to pull this up really quick and see if what our bounce targets could be. Because if the dollar does put in a bounce, I do suspect that it hurts Bitcoin. I think the only thing that was kind of holding up Bitcoin last week from really taking a plunge was the fact that the dollar nosedived so hard going into Thursday and Friday last week, kind of hitting our weekly bearish divergence targets that we had talked way back just a few weeks ago, with the potential to, come down to that purple 200. So still a little bit more to go potentially on the dollar. What else did I want to bring up here? So dollar reset, until we start getting back above now 110, I mean, pressure is going to remain to the downside. Actually, I would say, this major pivot right here at 108, this green box, if we can get back above there, it is going to be smooth sailing. And, generally I am macro bullish on the dollar. However, I did want to point this out amid a lot of other people out there talking about Bitcoin and whatnot. There's major bearish divergence coming back from this pivot right here, as we do have a slew of lower highs against a slew of higher highs in RSI on the monthly time frame. So this could be quite the powerful move. So it's back from this pivot here. You'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drives on the monthly of bearish divergence, which could give you a target all the way down to that green 55, even the yellow 21 at 101, somewhere in that range. And I would expect a strong bounce from the 0.5 of the 618, anywhere around $100. So if the dollar is going to reset lower, it's kind of hard to say what Bitcoin's going to do. However, that would provide NASDAQ with quite a bit of a bounce as the dollar has pulled back the past few days. NASDAQ did get quite a bit of a bounce, but we have not reclaimed the range, the falling channel here, the downtrend on the daily time frame. So this is in order to get a macro kind of reversal on NASDAQ, which we've been saying all along. All Bitcoin is a higher beta tech stock. And risk on assets should get creamed. And now that Bullard and all the Fed chairmen are talking about, oh, we don't need to tighten as much, inflation came down. Well, the real question is, in December, is that going to be consistent? I don't know if I believe the numbers, guys, but anyways, NASDAQ does look like it wants to test the top side of this range. You had hidden bullish divergence of several drives variety here. So that should give you a shot to the top side of the range. I mean, you can get a wick all the way up to 13.6 or even 12.7, somewhere in that range, and that would align with more of a Bitcoin bounce. On the other hand, we do have a bit of a black swan event, and we have initiated some downside targets that we've been talking about. We said, hey, look, with a tick below here, very, very likely going to head all the way down. Well, based off of the daily volatility momentum signature, we pretty much already played out the move. So we got a 20% move down, and that was low volatility. So kind of repeating the signature, because these are all going to play in confluence with each other if this does play out. So if you get low volatility, we know that volatility is going to expand, or we're going to get a volatile move in Bitcoin land. That's one thing for sure. We expect the price to go in the direction of the trend and in the direction of the momentum. So as the Stokes crossed down, volatility began to expand, and we got the 20% move. We were talking about 24%, a little bit more than 20%. I could use some water right now. Anyways, got that move. So what's the 2-day volatility momentum signature? The average move on the 2-day is about 40%. So where did we start that move? And I believe it's over about 7 to 10 days. So that has not maxed out yet. And, potentially, pressure will remain to the downside as long as we're below 20,600. And there is the potential for a little bit of a bounce here. Again, kind of depends on what the dollar does. And any kind of a bounce up, that was not a good bounce, up to 18.5, as long as we are rejecting there, pressure will remain to the downside on the daily time frame and the 2-day time frame. The 5-day. So 2-day volatility signature, volatility momentum signature gets you 30%, not quite there yet. And then you got the 5-day volatility signature, which is popping up right here. So it's the same signature over and over and over, and that's how you actually expect the lower term time frames to bleed into the higher term time frames. Now the average move on the 5-day is going to be 45 to 50%. So where would that take us? 45, call it 40. So that's 13,000 to about 10,000. I do want to bring us back to CMEs here and just, again, point out the gap here on CMEs. It's not on the 5-day time frame, but I believe on the daily. Why do I bring up the gaps? Well, some reason those gaps like to get filled, and, well, this one's way down here, and this gap never got filled. I mean, some would say close enough is close enough, but I do suspect that gap does get filled at some point. Is it going to happen in one day? No. Can there be bounces along the way? Very likely. The price likes to move in waves, and you can see it here even on the hourly time frame. Back at 16.1 on CME, spots at 16.5. Okay. So, this thing is playing actually very nicely in the hourly time frame using our fibs here. That was the breakdown. We got first bounce up to the 0.5, and then we came back below the 236 on the hourly. It looks like we're rejecting and heading back to the bottom side of the range. That's what you would suspect, unless we can put in a lower high right here, right now, pretty much. Excuse me, a higher low right here at the 0.5, which, potential. And, if we get a closure back above, even on an hourly time frame, a 16,765, I'd be looking for a run at 17,230 on the hourly time frame. What about the 4-hour? And the 4-hour on CMEs. Well, let's see if we got the bearish divergence confirmed. Not yet. We'll close in 2 hours, but you'd have 1-2 drives looking for a shot to the back to the bottom side of the range at 1550 on CME. Here we would have, again, the same 1-2 drives of hidden bearish divergence. Prices making lower highs. Let's see if we have another drive coming all the way back from right here. Do we? No, not quite yet. So how many drives do we have from this pivot right here? We have 1-2 drives. And I would be looking, upon confirmation, this all looks but confirmed for me. We took out this wick, confirming this as a lower high. With a wick like this, selling pressure is to the downside. And so, minimum looking back, bottom side of the range, 16.1 to 15.9. Now, that's where things start to get interesting. You can really see this descending triangle forming here. And you'd get a measured move off of this by taking the 50% full. And where does it usually break? At 75%. And yeah, looking like a measured move. Yeah, down to about 14.5. Let's see, where's another fib? Conservative fib target would be bounce at 15,672 and second shot at 1493. Now, I do believe if this region starts to break down, you know, we could see one of the more volatile moves and get extended down a bit. Again, you know, nothing to be expected from here, but a lot of volatility to the upside, to the downside, as the market kind of tries to pick a bottom. And that's what I would say is the most important thing. You know, I think we're getting closer to a bottom than not. So, you know, not a macro bottom, but we'll be identifying at least where the next potential bounce could be coming in. And the indicators to kind of, you know, go in confluence with that over the next few weeks, as I do imagine the 5-day volatility signature, which is just starting to get going. And again, coming from the lowest region we've pretty much ever seen. And once we get above 20 percentile, you know, conservative above 30%, as you can see, we got a fake out right there. But usually it is the second pass that really starts to get going. So that's it for the higher term time frames. And yeah, the reason I brought that up, you know, these are crossing down. What we want to see is 2 consecutive closures down. When's the next day? 5-day closures, 2 days and 7 hours. So a lot can happen over the next 2 days. And I would mediate it with a daily closure back above 18.5. That's when, you know, starts of a larger bounce or threat of a bounce or a failure, really. Failure above 19.5, you know, and I'd say this move is over and, you know, call it no more downside threat and probably sideways range from there. But that's it for Bitcoin. So if we know Bitcoin's probably going to take a leg down, well, I'd say Ethereum and some of the other altcoins are going to take a bigger leg down. And something to note as well, Bitcoin took out its June lows. Ethereum has not yet. So one of the stronger altcoins here, but I don't think it's going to escape, you know, it's not going to escape the realities of a bear market. And I think that just means it has more potential to go. If we took out the June lows at 1880, you know, we'd probably be down at that 765 target we'd been talking about. Oh, since this breakdown right here, pretty much fib targets, just like Bitcoin has a fib. Oh, that's very bad. The fib target we had was, I think, a little bit more conservative. Yeah, there we go. Based off of that consolidation, we're looking at that 18.9. If you use Wix, that's not going to work either. Curious to see where the 1618 comes in. Yeah, I mean, that is not good. So you can see the breakdown for Ethereum down to $100. That would be the March lows, the March 2020 lows, which would be in line with Bitcoin hitting its March 2020 lows. Did I say March? I think it was May. May 2020 was the dooms drop from coronavirus. But lining it up with the fib there, you can see the 10,906. And then the ultimate COVID lows, it was March of 2020. What am I talking about? Okay, so Ethereum probably follows Bitcoin, just does a little bit more damage. ApeCoin, this guy's in new charted territory at new lows. And I do believe this guy's going to do whatever Bitcoin does, but more. Short-term targets on this one. Getting stifled right there at the yellow 21 on the 6 hour. What about the 4 hour? Getting rejected at the 21. We'll cross down, low volatility. So any kind of a 4 hour closure back below 4 hour below 260, and we're looking for a move down to 233. and this is the top of the range, pretty much. That's 10% just to get to the bottom side of the range. If Bitcoin does play out the same kind of swoop down, which would be something like this, back to the bottom side of the range at 15.9 for a bounce. But notice we do typically bounce off these wicks, and then, well, we didn't bounce off of that one. We just shot right through it. But wicks are typically where the bounces do come in. And I'll just let you know, I mean, firsthand, you know, I think I got stopped out on the first trade on this one, taking a short here. Yep. It went into a nice little profit and then got stopped out. But I do believe, you know, entering on the short side of this, and again, not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, but, you know, if you can let the trend be your friend till the end of the trend. That's all I'm going to leave it with. So Ape, Mana, another one, deep dive correction. Why I want to bring these up, some of them have, let's see, I need the oldest price history for Mana. It's probably going to be on Binance, believe it or not. So we got Binance. Yeah, so if Mana starts to lose this 36-cent region, you can see that, well, we're pretty much in no man's land as it is based off the volume profile, looking for moves down to 28 cents, call it 27 cents at a minimum. Oh, hold on. 27 cents. Mana. So we'll call that one out. And, you know, threats of a move. We could tag that green 55 on a big volatile move and just play out a range if Bitcoin does want to bounce. So pretty big threat there. The other one I wanted to check in was Sand, the other metaverse coin, and it looks like it's already lost its major point of control below 51 cents, and this thing is pretty much a naked free fall down to about 22 cents on the weekly time frame. So could play a little bit more downside, and we'll cross down this week below 59 cents. So how do we know if Bitcoin's going to take a bounce or not? That's the question. And I would say this as well on the 4-hour time frame, which we are getting a little bit of a bounce right now. Of course, it's 16.5 on the 15-minute time frame. Let's take a look. Stokes are down at a critical level. We have a bit of a downtrend, kind of broke this last low, forming the cup, and this is where you'd want to see rejection if you're going to see it. Worst case scenario, if you are bearish right now, you know, you're looking for Bitcoin to remain below 16.8. If we do start closing even an hourly back above 16.8, is that it? Yeah, 16.8. Really, I think this is the line in the sand, actually, the 17.2 region. If we start to close hourlies above 17.2, I'm looking for maybe a bounce up to the top side of the range at 18.1. But I wouldn't hold my reputation on that one. Okay. So same thing, as you can see, these things are moving in concert with each other, and we're hitting the green 55 on the hourly time frame, pretty much on every major asset. And then if we start closing, you know, above the wicks, the prior wicks on the hourly time frame, you know, you're extending your move up to probably 116-ish, something, excuse me, about 1659. But overall, the trend is going to be macro down along with quite a bit of potential to go, as Solana was one of the ones that rose from, you know, I think less than a penny in its early stages. And if it does melt down alongside this black swan event, they have to liquidate coins. I'm not sure exactly how it's all going to unfold, but let's see here. Sol on Binance. Yeah, so, you know, we're pretty much in free fall land. I mean, last little low to hold. If that gives way, you know, SOL could head down to about $4. Volatility increasing. We're crossed down on the weekly time frame, the daily time frame. Moving in concert with the rest of the market. So, you know, volatility is maxed out. Could this go a few more days? Absolutely. What about the 2-day getting up there? 5-day, you know, again, low volatility, extreme lows. We're just beginning to cross down. If we can see, you know, another 5-day closure below 1452, and I'd say, yeah, major threats of a downside move on Solana. Okay, last one was 8. I think I already went over it. I think that's it for today. 20 minutes into this video, guys. So in a whole, you know, on the daily time frame, as long as we're below that pretty much 18.5 pivot, we're, you know, pressure to the downside. And then on the 4-hour time frame, as long as we are making the lower high, well, we did get a higher low. So lower high, higher low, lower high, confirmed. And we got the 2 drives of bearish divergence. So again, 2 drives gives you a shot to the bottom side of the range, which, you know, call it 16.1 to all the way to 15.8. Next stop there. And then the bullish divergence on the other side. Do we have any of that? Coming back all the way back from this pivot? No. So you can see, though, from this low here, we've got 1, 2. So, yeah, big move is cooking here. Sorry, it's hard to see, guys. So, again, the 4-hour bearish divergence or hidden bearish divergence coming back from, is it all the way this? Yeah, this is the pivot. So, you have 2 drives confirmed and candle bodies, I mean, multiple lower highs. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lower highs in price action versus higher highs in RSI coming back from this pivot right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we lose the exponential, another thing, you know, these have been working out very good for me is the RSI trend lines. So how would I draw this one out here? The RSI, the relative strength index, something like this maybe. And I do think, you know, we're going to get a pretty explosive move. First warning sign, you lose the exponential. 4-hour closure below this trend line. And yeah, that's going to imply more downside. Okay, that's it out of me today, guys. Hope you have a blessed and highly favored day. We'll be checking in with some more Bitcoin news tomorrow. Don't forget, like, subscribe the video, and have a blessed day. Take care.